Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another live episode of 2K Drones. And it's our birthday. We have been on for an entire year of doing this. Now, of course, I'm not 2K Drones on my own. I have my buddy, my brother from another mother. So I'm going to bring him in now. Say hello to Chocovac.
Happy birthday to me and you. Happy birthday to me and you.
Hello, Mike. Mike's in the house. Hi, buddy. How you doing?
I see Mike. I see John Coopy. I see my wife stalking me. I see.
Mike, I got a question for you. Did I see Ed Ricker fly a FPV drone through your legs at Spin Up by any chance? I'm pretty damn sure they were your legs.
Twice.
Twice.
Oh. Yeah, once wasn't enough.
Mr. Coopy's in the house as well. Hi, John. How you doing, buddy?
Twice.
We are going to be joined by a special guest. Unfortunately, the special guest is slightly late because their airport pickup didn't happen or something.
Something to that effect.
But it's Drone Viral's birthday as well. Happy birthday! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to us.
Happy birthday to Drone Viral.
So yes. Anyway, guys, welcome. So hello to everyone in the chat. Hi, Laurie. Hi, Drone Viral. What are we going to be talking about? Well, we're going to talk about the Action 2 a little bit because I've been using it in anger. We're going to talk about some insignificant drone release that happened a couple of weeks ago that no one is talking about, and probably a few other bits and pieces. But I think we'll probably kick it off with the what was the name of that drone again? I've forgotten. I see the Mavic 3.
Begins with an M.
Yeah.
Mavic something.
Mavic 3. So, well, okay. So we did a live show 2 weeks ago where we responded to the launch. It only literally happened, I think, the day before we did the live stream.
Yeah, it was like the day before.
And we weren't.
I was kind of mad because
hugely enthusiastic.
I had my checkbook ready, but my checkbook wasn't ready enough for that. So
no,
I was kind of bitter that day, but I've calmed down since.
So it's been 2 weeks. Numerous people now have the drone. I have actually played with it, around with it a bit. I've seen one flying. I can confirm it is quieter. It is definitely quieter than the Mavic 2s. And I thought the Mavic 2s were pretty quiet.
I've seen video that is indicative of the quietness.
The Mavic. the Mavic 2, in my opinion, was pretty quiet, but this is something else. Yeah.
Those rubber props are pretty slick. I don't know who engineered that, but that's pretty slick.
Those props, so the ends of the props, because when we first saw like the leaked shots, the end of the props don't do that sort of swish and flick
curve
thing
up like what's traditionally a low noise kind of propeller design.
But they are a completely different material. They're rubber.
Yeah, they're rubber.
They've got this like rubber, so they're dyed orange rubber.
When do they come on?
So, well, we're going to get into that. So before we take a huge, massive dump on it, let's talk about the positives first.
Big ass camera, positive. Big ass camera.
Let's talk about the positives first. So
Mike brings up
the camera, or the main camera, there is no denying this. The imagery out of this thing is spectacular. It is. Now, there are some people that have pointed out that there is some it gets a bit juddery at times. I seem to remember the original Mavic Air doing that, and they put out a firmware update that fixed that. I did notice it in Peter McKinnon's video that there was a little bit of judder, but I don't know if that's down to YouTube rendering.
You think I don't know, frames or something in YouTube, maybe causing a little bit of that?
Maybe.
It's hard to say. I think
it depends if he shot it in ProRes and then converted it. There's numerous things that could be affecting it, but in my opinion, the imagery out of this thing is just second to none. I mean, that 4/3 4/3 sensor makes a hell of a difference, especially in low light. I don't. Some people are arguing that the low light performance isn't as great as they thought, but it depends. If you're shooting in ProRes, if you have the Mavic 3 Sin and you're shooting in ProRes, obviously you're getting a lot more information recorded, so you can bump up that ISO. And if you happen to have a Mac with Final Cut has a very nifty noise removal tool, especially with ProRes, because Final Cut is Apple, ProRes is Apple. Therefore, the software handles it nicely. When you get that combination, the low light performance on this drone is seriously impressive.
Do you think I know like Mike's talking about the zoom being incredible. Me, I'm meh. I think the 7-time native zoom the optical zoom is probably really good. Do you think DJI can go backwards and go from like 1 times basically no zoom up to 7 times zoom and basically not have to go digital and be able to zoom in like gradually from it's not possible. The lens, it's not possible.
Whereas the Mavic 2 zoom has a physically optical zoom and it had a moving lens inside, the Mavic 3 has a telephoto lens, so it is a fixed focal length and it's optically 7 times.
So there's no way to go and reduce that, because then you wouldn't be losing. You have too much and you're just asking for less if you zoomed out. Or is that no? I'm thinking backwards. Forget it. Anyway, it was just that was the one thing. I'm not a zoom lens kind of guy. I have the Mavic 2 zoom and I think I flew it like 3 times. It's like,
but you can get some if you're filming something like say a statue, or you can get that parallax effect. And you can do that on the Mavic 3 with that 7 times optical zoom, but it's fixed. Whereas you used to have far more control over it with the Mavic 2 zoom, you don't have it over this. When it's 7 times zoom, the quality on it's pretty good. Let's face it, it's the same freaking sensor as an Osmo Pocket 2. So it's pretty good. It's slightly smaller. It's 1/2-inch sensor.
But yeah, that's a decent size sensor. It can get some good stuff. The big camera is where I'm all about the big.
We'll get on to that, but the problem is that they've limited it at the moment. You can't have cinematic frame rates. You can't control the shutter speeds. There's numerous issues with
January.
It. Now, January we might see that get fixed, but as of yet we don't know. All we know is on January the 22nd is what's been put around. Is that we're going to get all the main features that you should have had from launch. Now, look,
that's almost the anniversary of the original Air. That came out on 23rd January, 2018.
Yeah.
Right before Mavic.
Before the Mavic 2. But the zoom is okay. I think it has a niche use, especially when you have it up against that sensor. What would have been better is if they had somehow managed to integrate micro lenses in, and basically used up that entire gimbal space with the sensor, maybe a slightly bigger sensor, and then
full frame. You've talked full frame, Keith, and that I know there are some doubters on Facebook. We got into it a little bit with them, but I would, if there's a way.
It's technically possible,
but you know what? It's like you could release a drone without the zoom lens, and do you think the Mavic 3 has the potential to be kind of like the Mavic 2 series, where they might have additional cameras that they can bolt onto this thing?
I suspect we're going to see a 3S. I think it's going to be a year away, but I think we're going to see it.
There's rumor about a 3 Pro, like a 3 Pro.
Or a 3 Pro, but I think we're going to see a different incarnation of this drone. I think this is just the first.
I think so too.
But before I'm trying to remain positive, because I know there's people watching, and I want to give a balanced view on this.
Lie, I want one. I need more balance. I need we haven't even talked about the new RC Pro, right? But the RC Pro should become backward compatible, and it should and work with at least the Mini 2, the Air 2, the Air 2S. Those 3 drones deserve the RC Pro. I mean, anything like I don't even want to admit this, but anything on Go 4, like my trustworthy Mavic 2 series stuff, it's kind of old. So, but those 3 should be brought on board to this thing pretty quick.
And I think they will.
And there's rumors.
There is a rumor. Yeah, there is a rumor.
I don't know if it's legit.
There is a picture. There is a picture doing the rounds of a Mavic 2, because there's an Air 2S Fly More now with the smart controller, like the Air 2 smart controller Fly More. And the rumor is that they've run out of stock of the smart controller, so they are now supplying it with the RC Pro. This was on Twitter. This was on a random Twitter account. I have only seen it, and obviously then numerous people have shared this on the Facebook page. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. But the DJI Pilot RC didn't deny that it's not possible. And actually, when you dig into OcuSync is a software-driven radio transmission. Therefore, technically, OcuSync 2 hardware, as we know, can support OcuSync 3 hardware, vice versa. Because if you look at the remote that is being supplied, the basic remote, and we'll get onto that remote in a minute, the RCN1, I think they call it, that is supplied with the Air 2S, the Mini 2, and now the Mavic 3, that is technically an OcuSync 2 controller. The hardware hasn't changed. The OcuSync 3 is software driven, and that's what's happening. The drone does all the work there. So I've got the same controller, right, for the Air 2S, which is OcuSync 3, and now the Mavic 3 is OcuSync 3 Plus. But the hardware technically can be roughly the same. So in a roundabout way, the RC Pro should be backwards compatible. Now, they are not going to do it for the Mavic 2. Guys, if you think they are, they're just not.
You know what? There's no reason they can't do it.
Well, there is. There's DJI work like any other manufacturing company that is software and engineer driven. They work on a cost factor, and I cannot see anyone signing off on a cost factor to remake that backwards compatible with an app that is technically going to go out of support soon, and a bunch of drones which are technically probably going to go out of support soon. So
the hardware is the same, and they already have the software in the smart controller.
But there is code to do that, and there is additional code to do that, because the RCs don't work with the Mavic 3. And don't forget, you've got all the telemetry stuff. There's numerous code around that means that I just don't see them doing it. I see them doing it with the DJI Fly drones. That I think is going to happen. The one thing that I really don't understand is why people are really, really upset about the original smart controller not being compatible with the Mavic 3.
Well,
seriously, if you've used that controller with the Air 2S, there is no way in hell that thing is going to work well with the Mavic 3. DJI have said this. We got it working, and it was not very good. Therefore, we're not going to do it.
It was huffing and puffing hardware wise. It's just a little too old. It's just too old. But so that's unfortunate.
Now then, before we carry on with our discussion, our special guest is here. Chuck, would you like to introduce our special guest? And I just want to smile here because for once I ain't outnumbered.
Yes. Well, our special guest comes originally from the UK, now in Spain. She's smiling. She's smiling in the back room.
Shall we bring? Do you want to do the introduction, and then we'll bring her in?
So you guys might know her channel. It's Backpack Jack, and she's on Drone Seekers, and she's a really cool chick and flies a Mavic 2 Zoom all over the place in Spain, and is really creative. And I kind of cheat and watch her vlogs because I learn a little bit from her, and I cheat and borrow from her, but she's probably doing the same thing to me.
So we will bring
bring her in.
Hello.
Hey, Jackie.
Sorry, I'm
I am
late,
so
guys.
no, it's all good. I'm so excited that I am not the only British person.
Yes.
I'm always surrounded by all these Yanks, and he's got.
We can take the mickey out of him now and get him to pronounce things like Birmingham and
and aluminium
aluminium. Yeah, why do they
Aluminum.
struggle so much with that?
and bin.
What?
Not bin, not waste paper basket. Bin and color.
Round
spelled with a
file,
U.
man.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, mate.
Trash can's a round file.
How you both doing anyway? You okay?
Well, we're doing okay. It's very nice to meet you. I had a good look at your channel actually, and I watched your cycling videos as well. We're going to be talking a little bit about cycling
He's
videos
really
because I've
excited
got
about
the
your cycling videos, by the way.
Action 2 here, and I've been sort of testing that out with the bike, and we'll get on to that in a bit. But we're just talking about the Mavic 3 at the moment because we're trying to talk about the positives before we get onto the negatives. So we're trying to be really positive about this drone. We're talking about the smart control and the compatibility issue, and we think that the new one's going to be backwards compatible, but the current one won't be forwards compatible.
Game over
because it's
all smart controller.
Really underpowered.
Served us well for so long. What, 3 years? Almost 3 years? 3 years in January. Yeah, I saw that. I was ignoring that, but I saw it.
I wasn't.
Lori's okay with it. I had Lori's approval.
So Jack, have you seen any of the sort of Mavic 3 stuff? Have you been sort of keeping up with it at all? Or
I've been keeping up a little bit. I've seen some of the new videos that people are bringing out, and I haven't seen anything dodgy yet. But I know you said there was some issues, but everything else has been positive so far. And
I will share this because we might. There are increasingly a few issues with durability. Now, this is what I saw. Let me share this screen. So I was in the shop the other day, and this is the Mavic 3, and this is a full working model because we even switched it on and took it off in the shop and thing. But the first thing I noticed is the back of this gimbal. The gimbal is huge. It's a lot bigger than the Mavic 2. But I mean, I don't know if you know anything about the Mavic 2. The gimbal sort of comes down like that. So it comes down at the back like that, and then there's two little rubber plugs. Now those little rubber plugs kind of stretch, but they were kind of permanently fixed to the rest of the drone body. With the Mavic 3, they're just little plugs, and they pop out a lot. And this popped out, and it's not so easy to get back in. So that was the first thing I sort of noticed. And then hopefully the next thing is it's a really tall drone. So, when you're sort of like packing your Mavic 2 or your Air 2s away, can you see where those propellers, they kind of
they're still on the side, not on top?
Yes. Oh. Yes. So if you put it in the bag, they fold the props down. It's
that's why they have the Darth Vader mask guard.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
That's what I thought initially when I saw it. It looked like Darth Vader's mask or his helmet.
And you might notice here, because if I show you here, you can see that there's the gimbal's already marked here, and it's because when you fold in the arms, because the arms are longer, because the props are bigger, it's clipping it, and that's it is.
But the gimbal locks. The gimbal locks when you turn it off, which is kind of
the gimbal. That is cool. The gimbal does lock, so you can't. Yeah, and it physically locks.
So isn't that going to help prevent that damage? You could probably still move it. Maybe there's some mobility when it's
because as you fold the arms in, like the old Mavic 2 arms used to rub against the sides.
Yeah.
These rub against the gimbal.
Oh, isn't that special? It's always something.
And
clear tape to the rescue.
The perfect drone doesn't yet exist, does it?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Well, they're trying to package a lot, dude. That's 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag, man. That's like.
But the other thing is, I mean, I didn't get a picture of it, but on the other side, these little plastic covers, one of these was missing. The ones that cover the little LEDs here, on the arms, and one of them had fallen off. And I thought, oh, it's a display model. People have probably been rougher with it. But over the last week, I've been seeing more and more people on Facebook complaining about saying either it's loose or it's fallen off. And a DJI guy in one of the groups responded to this saying, I'll just push it in.
Shouldn't come off though, should it?
No.
Probably
and
not,
on a train that costs $2,100 before the Fly More, it really shouldn't happen.
No.
And the Cine even more so. But yeah, so that's, I'm pretty sure that's just spindly plastic tabs not doing their job. That's traditional. Guys can get mad at me maybe, but that's traditional Chinese manufacturing right there. Super spindly, cheesy plastic parts.
Yeah,
can't take much vibration, and then they just stress and fail.
I mean, I don't know. I think
right. So yeah, dab of silicone and you're back in business. But it's kind of
I
had to glue the rubber foot.
Like me, I'm not very good at fixing stuff, and I mean, I've crashed my drone a couple of times. I lost signal in a ravine and it bopped into a cliff face, and it actually popped the gimbal out. And I just thought, oh my god, that's it. I've knackered it. I'm gonna have to send it back to DJI. But anyway, I had some people help me, and they told me what to do, and I managed to fix it.
Hey, Big Water.
If you're not technically minded, it's not always that easy, is it? So
no.
I wish it's a little bit more tough.
This is worrying because I've seen a few people crash them, and they don't seem to be as durable as the Mavic 2. I mean, the old Mavic 2 could take a few bumps.
Gimbal, obviously, there's
as you said, I had the gimbal pop out, and I went on YouTube and found a few videos and managed to get it back in. But the thing was, I managed to get the gimbal back in, and it flew happily after that. I mean, I did have a fall from 80 meters in the air. That kind of did kill the gimbal, and thanks to Chuck here, he sent me a new one and it fixed it. But
I did have a spare. I had redundancy.
Bookofspare.com. But the worrying thing here is that the DJI, certainly this year with the FPV drone and now this, seem to have a few durability issues. And it's worrying when they are charging what they are charging for this drone.
My first drone was a DJI Spark. And
same here. Brilliant drone.
When I got it, I was a bit rubbish.
That was your
and
first?
I used to crash it quite a lot. But I tell you what, that drone, I would just crash it, pick it up, and fly it again.
I had a Spark, but I had the Mavic Pro first. And the Mavic Pro's gimbal was every bit as fragile as this new Mavic 3. I think it was pretty janky and would kind of
yeah.
But I had the Spark after that, and admittedly Lori loves your shirt. By the way, here we'll put it in the chat. Here's Jackie's channel, so be sure to pay her a visit and click that subscribe button, of course.
Thank you.
But it's a cool shirt. But anyway, the Spark, the first time I took it out to the schoolyard where I like to try stuff out, I broke contact with it. I was flying backwards, doing a pull away, like a droney shot, and it went full throttle backwards. It goes backwards, and it goes and smacks into the brick wall like the brick church. Bam! It bounces off. I'm like, oh my god, it's done.
But then you pick it up, and it's fine.
I do the walk of shame over to get it, and then it was all in one piece.
Yep.
Totally in one piece.
Pretty robust.
My first accident with the Spark, we were on this little sort of pier, I suppose, and it's a concrete pier, and at the end of it was kind of like this pavilion, and it was pretty picturesque. But you had to walk through a forest to get to this, like a little mangrove forest. You walk through this mangrove forest and then out onto this pier, and I'm flying the drone, and I landed it. And as I was taking off, a gust of wind just suddenly came out of nowhere, and the drone veered off, hit the side of the pier, flopped over, the props are still going. It hit a tree, and I thought, that's it. It's gone into the water. And literally, there was a mangrove root sticking up, and it hit the mangrove root, and it was that far from the water line, and it's on there. So I'm thinking, oh God, how do I get that? And I'm going, right, I need to get a boat. Right. So I'm looking around trying to see, where do I get a boat from? The next thing I know, my wife has leaped over the thing, jumped onto this tree, monkeyed her way down, got the drone, come back up and back over the side while I'm sitting there worrying and panicking.
Figuring out how to do it.
She was my hero that day.
I've had some heroes help me rescue a drone. My Spark crashed into the side of a cliff and was hanging on the edge. And well, it was a big river actually. And we thought I could reach it if the two fellas I was with dangled me by my feet down the side of the cliff. So
now there you need another drone to film that happening. That would have been.
And I got it on camera. It's on one of my videos. And just as I reached for the drone, I got it wrong and I nudged it instead of grabbing it.
And down it went.
And of course, it then fell further down.
Ah.
But I did manage to walk down and get it. But it was a pity that I did that. But
climb of shame.
They dragged me back up, and I couldn't tell them what had happened because I was laughing too much.
Be crying. Crap. Expletives that rhyme with my name and start with the letter F, and all kinds of stuff would have been happening.
But the drone was fine.
Those Sparks could take a fair knock. They could.
What they can't do, I've discovered, is swim.
No.
Yeah, they're not a good waterproof drone. None of them.
No, they're not. There's a YouTuber here. He's quite popular now. And he's an English lad. And he is trying to go to every single province here in Thailand. Paddy Doyle, he's called. He's a great YouTuber, but he likes to Spark, and he's now crashed 3 of them into a lake, and every time he's managed to replace it. He's managed to find a new one somewhere.
Well, there's a lot of them. There are a lot of them out there. It's like
there are.
You used to be able to buy the Spark aircraft all by itself, which.
Do you know if they were up, you think I'd get another one?
I'll probably get another Mini. I might get another Mini too. You can buy that aircraft only too. There's redundancy because that's just a great. Man, I had a lot of fun flying that thing in the UK. Nobody got mad at me when I flew it.
It is.
But it wasn't so windy that I couldn't fly it. But
yeah,
it was basically in the UK. It was either like Scotland. It was either too windy to fly anything or okay to fly anything. There was binary. Yeah, it was always a little windy. Yeah.
It is a very, very quiet drone. The Mini 2 is a great little drone.
I'd love to see a comparison between the Mini 2 and the Mavic 3 sound wise. Curious.
The Mini 2 is quieter, but then
it's smaller. Still like
the Air 2S, I think, is more noisy than the Mavic 3. But then it was inside, so it's hard to tell. But I thought the Mavic 3 was noticeably quieter. It does look cool. I mean, it looks really, really cool. It just, I kind of agree with Ken Dobo. When you get it in your hand, it doesn't feel premium. It doesn't feel like it kind of should. Yeah, but it feels more. You know, if you hold a Mavic 2, it feels premium, right? If you hold a Mavic Air, you can tell the difference. You can tell that the Mavic 2 is a better built drone. It's using more expensive materials, and it's just a better thing. The Air 2 and the Air 2S don't feel as premium, but you don't mind that because the imagery that you get up.
I've heard contrary to you, Keith. I have a friend who just held a Mavic 3 the other day, and he thought it felt fine. And he's had a Mavic 2 Pro, he's had a Mavic 2 Zoom, he's had an Air 2. He has an Air 2 again. He was gifted one, that lucky son of a gun. He was the guy.
I'll give you an example, Chuck.
I don't know. I haven't done it myself yet. I haven't gone to Best Buy. I'm afraid. It's like going into the pet store. If I go into Best Buy and here, just hold it. Yeah, I'm carrying one out. That's how that's pet store tactics right there. I'm not.
But the problem is, I think because they've made it lighter, that's why it feels like that. It's because they've made it lighter than the Mavic 2 that it feels slightly cheap, and that could be the issue. I like the battery design. The battery design is really cool.
Awesome.
Although when it clicks into the back, it's not quite as satisfactory click as when you put a battery in at the top. It feels
satisfactory having it pop out of the drone and then.
But I suppose it feels like no, Chuck. It feels like it will. That's the thing. It doesn't click in as. It doesn't have that thud in, you know.
While it's self in place, it won't be coming out. I like the LEDs on the back, kind of like the old Spark too. I like to be able to spin it around and see the status of my battery if it's close enough.
I've seen a battery fly out midair. It's quite surprising.
Yeah, that's right.
Terry's
did that. Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
I think hold them both together. You might get what I mean. I think it's to do with the fact that they've made it lighter, so they've used lighter plastics. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the finish on it. It just looks a bit more matte finish, and
I like the darker color.
I held both of them in the shop because they had a Mavic 2, and I held both of them, and I'm getting ready to go fly one again right now. But
cool.
I think it's because. No, this was my personal feeling, and then I watched Dobo's video, and he echoed that a bit. But the imagery out of this thing is amazing. So, and that's what we've got. I mean, the video I've seen, especially that Iceland video. Oh God.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
you know how
jealous
hard
of that.
My wallet restrained and closed when I watched that Iceland footage. I showed it to Lori. I even showed it to Lori. I said, "Check this out.
We need to go there."
Well, we need a Mavic 3 and then go there. Kind of. I was trying to sell, but it didn't work out.
But then there's been a couple of there's Jake Sloan in Alaska, and then there's Alex over in I think it's Croatia. We Talk UOV, and they've both done air-to-S comparisons with the Mavic 3. And whereas the Mavic 3 is an amazing drone, the imagery is really good. The air-to-S holds up its own far more than I thought it was going to. And actually, I was playing with it the other day, and I had it tracking me. I was on the bike, and I was being a bit daring because I was going around this sort of headland. You'll know it from my video, Chuck, the one where I just went and flew the drone because I hadn't flown it for ages. You remember, there's like a headland that sticks out where the monkeys are, where the monkey got in my car and nicked the drone. Oh yeah. I'll tell you this story
because I haven't got your channel.
I will do. I'll tell you this story quickly. Basically, there's a place where there's wild monkeys, and I'd landed the drone, jumped out to change the battery on the drone, and left the passenger door open. Turned around, and there is a monkey sitting on my passenger seat with the remote in hand.
Oh God! Did you film it? Brilliant.
No, because I didn't have a camera.
I gave him heat for that already. So that was YouTube gold. He has more monkey stories, by the way. He
yes,
have a whole channel on monkey stories.
Yes. I
Oh,
have got quite a few monkey stories.
Better save those for another day. But that's.
But yeah, this particular one. But I was going around the headland, and the drone tracked me, and it really and it looked really good. I mean, I had a polarizing ND on there, and it looked really good. I was surprised once I graded it how well it came out.
See this one? No, haven't ordered.
He's trying to resist.
Resistance is futile, probably, but I am resisting. I am resisting because once that RC Pro is backward compatible to my Mini 2, and I only have to carry one big ass remote around with me to fly a couple of drones, then they pretty much got me. So DJI, if you are listening, and you don't usually listen to me, do it. There.
I think once the January update is out, it's going to be different. I think there's going to be a lot less negativity. I do think there's durability issues. I do think this drone is overpriced. I am really annoyed that they included the bulk standard remote, especially when you got that lovely remote with the Mavic 2 that had all the telemetry on it. It's what set those that range of drones apart. Yeah, and now they've basically almost doubled the price.
Wait, what? Well, where is it? Where's my tracking number?
He's lying.
Yeah, liar, pants on fire.
I was about. But they've almost doubled the price, and they've given you a bulk standard remote.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see,
that-
now
that
they've
was
made
really
a super
disappointing.
duper remote. Why doesn't that come with every drone now as standard? Because it should
'Cause
do,
it's
really, shouldn't it?
$1,200 on its own.
Mm.
But I want it. I do. I'm not going to lie. The minute DJI make that
Yeah.
remote backwards compatible with the Air 2S, you're having my money. I'm not going to lie. I will be there. Here, give me, because I mean, I don't know. You're in Spain, aren't you,
Yeah.
Jackie? So yeah, so you get heat like we get here, and when I'm using my phone, it dims within about 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The smart controller has been a godsend because I can stand out. I don't have to duck behind a tree somewhere,
Yeah.
and get shade and try and sort of sit there and then lose signal, because the minute the drone goes there, it's just gone. So the smart controller has been a godsend, but the performance with the Air 2S, and you've noticed this with your Mini 2, haven't you, Chuck? That it's just a bit not
video
smooth.
the video feed is a bit laggy. Not terrible, but it's noticeable. And I've done the whole, reset thing. Where you basically I purged all the crap out of it. I know other guys have talked about what helps. It helps every time. But this new RC Pro, guys are talking about, wow, it's not just a remote control anymore. You can put all the Android apps in it. Well, to them, I ask, why?
Yeah, because
why gum it up? It's supposed to be
controlling the drone.
It's your connection to your drone.
Yeah.
I fell into that trap with the original smart controller, and I untrapped myself and went back because I was thinking, why? I can see a couple of drone apps that work if you have a Wi-Fi connection or whatever. Maybe
There's
the mapping and seeing what's around you and know if you can fly or not. There's so many apps out there like that you can use.
In theory, you should be able to run
kind of stuff, but
in theory, you should be able to run Litchi on it. In theory, because
I
they've basically unlocked it.
I have that on the smart controller. That's one of the ones that I still have on there, but I never use it.
I've always just used the Go 4 app or whatever it's called. I've never tried this Litchi. Don't know anything about it.
I use Litchi with the original Air. I set up a mission and flew it around my neighborhood, and it's like, it's okay. But
it's funny because I got into a bit of a row with somebody on Facebook because people were losing their minds about the missing features on the Mavic 3, and I was kind of ready for this because this has been the case with every DJI product. Okay, it's kind of to the extreme with the Mavic 3.
Hey, Jerry,
but
covering more countries today.
We are truly international.
International.
Yeah.
2K drones international.
But the Mavic 2 had a few missing features. In actual fact, it took them 6 months to get those features on there, like waypoints, precision landing, to name but a few.
Was one that was kind of a slow to come out, and why?
And I posted this I'm saying, look, I realize that it's annoying, but I'm really shocked at how surprised people are that there are missing features from this. I said, the Mavic 2 was the same. Hang on, my sister is deciding to call me now. I will message her. Sorry. How dare she? Doesn't she know that I'm online? I should really put this. Hang on. But the Mavic 2 had these missing features, and I said this, and there was this guy, and I said, there were missing features. And this guy said that. Hang on.
No, sorry. I know what you're gonna talk about. The guy who he was very much loyal to DJI and said nothing was missing, everything was fine. But you know what? DJI is they're answering to competition in the market right now because they see their market share kind of slipping away a little bit. They have issues here in the United States because the United States government decided that the Chinese government and DJI are kind of like this, and they're it's a little sketchy. So they have problems with that, and they needed to compete with Autel and everybody else. So they rushed this thing out, even though it was mostly done. It's not really done. And it's typical DJI, Keith. They always do this. It'll be fine in about 2 months. They'll have things more stable, and they'll have features in there that aren't there yet that will be. But that's why I'm not really upset that I don't have one yet. Well, I'm a little upset, but I'm not really upset.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I usually jump right out and grab the stuff, but I think the longest I waited was the Mavic 2 Pro. I waited a whole month, but a week and a half of that month I was in Hawaii, so it really didn't matter. Didn't care. I was flying my Mavic Pro in Hawaii that time, so it didn't matter. It's like I didn't want to learn a new drone right before I went on vacation. That would have been suicide. Well, that's the other thing. Now that's the other thing. You have
tried and tested.
Well, yeah, you're comfortable with like you're flying the Zoom, right, Jackie? You have the Zoom.
No, I've got a Mavic Pro Platinum.
Oh, you have the Pro Platinum? I thought you had a Zoom. Okay, well, the Pro Platinum, you're comfy with it. You fly it. You've flown it for a long time. Now to go to another one, they're similar, but they're still not the same. You still have to kind of get used to it, the settings, all that stuff, and that just there's a learning curve, and then
when you go out, especially when you go somewhere new, you just want to set up and fly and not have any issues.
I don't want to think about it. I just want to, just the basic settings, get the exposure right and everything, and blah 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 blah. Calibrate the compass, do the goofy dance, and then up in the air and film. Yeah, I don't want to be trying to figure out the drone. That's like
no.
I mean, that's more schoolyard time again. I don't like to do that anymore.
Mike's got the Platinum too. Very cool drone.
Yes, I had the Platinum. I had the Platinum as well.
I just had the OG one. That's all I ever had. I never did the Platinum. I did get the props though, back in the day.
Yeah, they're supposed to be more quiet, aren't they? But I don't know.
They were a little quieter, but it didn't have the special motors. It just had the props, which helped a bit. But that Mavic Pro was doomed from the beginning. The minute the Mavic 2 came out, that thing was history. I traded that thing in like gone. Within a month, it was gone.
The Mavic Air wasn't great. I had my own.
The Air I sold. Yeah, I sold my Air to a dude and had all the accessories and stuff for it. That went to a good home in California.
You that guy that I was talking about on Facebook, he insisted that he had waypoints from day one, and the thing was, this went back and forth saying no, it was 6 months because it was most popular video on YouTube.
He bought it 6 months in? Did he buy it 6 months?
No, because he was on the release firmware. Guess what? He was using Litchi. It's like, go away. It's like, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, that voids the warranty as well on the drone.
Jerry's up in Canada. He says Mavic 3 is too spendy for him, which, that's another concern. I mean, I know, like, Ken Dono said stuff like, if you can't afford it, it's not for you. He said it more colorfully than that, but
but it's right though, isn't it?
But seriously, like even I mean, I'm not saying I made a money or anything, but if I take a drone out like that,
scary putting an expensive.
Yeah, I've got an expensive aircraft I'm flying around a very expensive camera. And it does make me more nervous, and I'm not going to take chances and risk it for the biscuit as much as I will with like that little Mini 2. I'll toss that thing around. It's only like $300 or $400 to get another one.
I mean, I call myself a bit of a techaholic. I used to buy the new iPhone every year. I used to buy anything. I would go out and buy it. And in the last couple of years, I've tried to calm down. And my other issue is I am a bit of a sort of imagery snob. I want the best, and I can see the difference. But even this drone has got me going. Yeah, it's just that bit on the expensive side, and it doesn't.
And what else am I getting for this expenditure? Because right now,
you're
my fleet of Mavic 2s, and I have 3 of those.
Polar opposite to Keith, because if it works and it does what I want it to do, I don't like change.
I'm in between. I'm a techaholic too, but I'm resisting because of we talked about the learning curve, and then I have this fleet of Mavic 2s. Like everybody knows, I have 3 of the sinking things. Maybe I should put some up for sale.
I'll tell you what, I have just got though, Keith.
Is that the 13 Pro Max?
It is. I love it.
Ooh. Now that is...
Keith's going to break now.
I flew my Mavic Platinum for the first time with it a few weeks ago. And it was like I had a whole new drone with that screen. It gave me so much more confidence. I mean, Chuck's seen my latest video. I went out over the sea far more than I've ever gone out, and felt like a whole different drone just because I changed my phone.
It's
Yeah.
the screen on it is
really bright, big.
Yeah. It does suffer from dimming, but not nearly as quickly as even my iPhone 11. Funny enough,
Mike, I think Mike Miller, did he just miss it? He was asking, was that your iPhone 13?
Yes.
Yeah. Oops, wrong thing.
It's a Pro Max, right? Is that it's the big one? Yeah, the one that, because that thing does ProRes. That phone can shoot in ProRes, and it is incredibly good.
Oh, Keith,
I'm
you're
like,
you're getting a Cine then. You were saying you don't need it. You're not Hollywood, and I don't need it. I'm not Hollywood, but I am.
Okay, here's the thing. Right, here's the thing.
Just don't lie.
I'm
going to
be absolute. No,
I tell you, I'm not getting. Of course, I'm going to get the very top of the.
I've got a bit of money in the bank, and it's enough to either buy the Cine Edition or buy myself a really decent road bike, right? And I've been sitting on this for a while. And it's an endurance road bike that I'm going for. And it's endurance road bike, Mavic 3. Endurance road, and I'm leaning towards the endurance road bike. I really am. I've kind of taught myself out of getting electronic gearing. So I've saved myself a few bob.
This is the side. We're off on a tangent, but while we are, Keith, you're going to get the new bike. I'm going to get the Cine. You're going to see I have the Cine. You'll be like, I got to have the Cine. And you'd be like, Lem, I need to get a new drone. And then Lem's going to say, like, yeah, I need a new living room set, Keith.
Yeah, I know. That's what happened last time. Yeah. When I got the FPV drone, we also got a 3-piece sofa set.
Of course you did.
Everybody's happy. Win-win.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah. Happy wife, happy life.
Fortunately, Lori doesn't do that to me yet, but she probably will. We
also got a new bed, a new mattress, many things, a new dog. That's another story. That was as much my idea as hers, in fairness.
All right,
we rescued it.
So we should press on, Keith. We haven't talked about
the
biking aspect. You working into it?
I want to finish just before we go on to that I actually am seriously very happy with my Air 2S. I really am. And I've been using it. The only thing that I want is waypoints or some way of keeping it moving forward without me having to control it. Because like the FPV drone's got cruise control. I'd love that feature on the Air 2S. Because what I want is when you're on the bike and you're cycling along a road, I want to get that shot where the drone overtakes you. You can't do that with active track. You can do it with waypoints.
Brakes on your bike where you can use the brakes to slow down and speed up and pedal.
Yeah, the active track's so damn good.
Manual cruise control.
Trust me, I've tried to lose it, and it's pretty good actually.
Pedal, brake.
Well, I mean, we will. I'll show you some. So, okay, Mavic 3. Chuck's going to get it.
Sorry.
Chuck's going to end up with the Cine Edition. We all know.
Even though you can pretty much rest assured, probably.
He's then going to have to buy an even bigger monster of a computer, even though my MacBook.
What? No, I don't. That's going to be easier on it.
ProRes
storage space. I need more storage.
ProRes. He's going to end up buying a Mac because he's going to realize that Macs can edit it like
Macs are the best. Apple all the way.
So what's it? Two 8K streams of ProRes. My new Mac will be able to. He's so anti-Mac. It's funny. I wound him up about this. I've got a new MacBook coming. It's been a long time coming. And it's a long story about how it's getting here, but that's another matter.
It's okay that you Mac dudes want to use Dudecies, whatever. You guys want to use the Mac. That's cool, but not me. If I have to use a Mac to have a Cine Edition Mavic 3, I'm out. I'm not getting the Cine then. Screw it. I'm not.
I think it's the ProRes that's going to be, which is going to get people sitting there going, although you do use DaVinci, and DaVinci does handle ProRes reasonably well.
Yeah, DaVinci and the 3080.
Well, DaVinci are very much getting into bed with Apple, so
i9 and the whole shebang, and I'll be able to crush that. That's less work than dealing with M264 and M265 files. I mean,
what's Drone Phoenix
or H? I said M. H264, H265. I don't know why I said M. I'm thinking M2 drives. I confused all my computer crap.
We have it. Drone Phoenix. It's earlier on in the comments, but because she's our special guest, Chuck, do you want to share it one more time?
I will share it again gladly.
What's Drone Phoenix's
it
name?
And
Just so I know.
don't you can embarrass me now because I can never remember his name.
Oops.
I'm red faced.
We'll call him Drone Phoenix. I've been to Phoenix. Very nice place.
Oh, Drone Phoenix. I'm sorry. I had a Ken Heron moment. I can't remember your name.
Have a moment.
Sorry, Ken, but it's true. You don't remember who the hell I am either if you're watching this at all. Never remembers me. I've been in his face enough times on YouTube, and he just forgets me every time.
So to conclude, Chuck's going to end up with the Mavic
Robert.
3.
There you go.
Jackie,
Hi, Robert.
you probably won't believe this, but I loved my Mavic Pro Platinum, and the only reason I ended up with the Mavic 2 was a weird law in Thailand, but that's a long story. But
yeah, that's I'll probably only change mine if I either drown it again or the regs change.
Oh, Robert, that's so embarrassing. I'm sorry, brother. I really am. I just yeah.
Now my brain's gone in. Sorry, Drone Fit Robert. I haven't spoken to you for so long on Discord.
Yeah.
Now I remember.
It's like,
I knew.
That's when I was. You know, it's the whole droning on Discord thing kept me more in check, and I'm sorry that's kind of like fallen. That's what got this whole thing started. Was Ash and droning on? He's the one who.
I know.
It's in Malta.
I know exactly. Yes. Yeah, I know exactly who you are now. I apologize. I remember you by name now because of always chatting on Discord. I'll tell you what, if we need to do something about Discord, we'll talk about that off air, but we need to get a Discord server up and running, I think. Hi, Chris. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, hi, Chris.
Yeah. Ash is just too darn busy. He has other things going on. He's just a busy boy. And
blonde and blue eyes.
Okay, but anyway, but no, really, it's this whole thing that's going on in here and my channel and maybe not so much your channel, but definitely my channel. And this 2K drones thing is all thanks to him. I mean, he's the one who got me to put my face in front of that camera and everything. And without that, I would have just been another drone channel with just, oh, here's B-roll of a drone flying in Oregon. Here's B-roll of a drone flying in Maui. Here's Now at least there's storytelling and stuff. It's much. It's more like your channel, Jackie, where there's actually stuff going on and there's a story to be told. It's way more fun and engaging.
The camera too much. I don't think people.
I wanted to talk about your channel because I was
in front of the camera.
I was watching, and I'm going to segue in. I'm going to segue into this. But I was going to talk about your channel. This is the DJI Action 2. We'll talk about it in a minute. But I was watching your channel and I saw you on your video. You're using a 3D cam, aren't you? Mounted on a.
I started off with a Insta-1, and it was a bit crap, to be honest. Didn't give me a lot of battery life. But now I've got the GoPro Max 360.
Is that what you're using, the GoPro Max?
And I blooming love it. It's superb. I won't go back to Insta now. I was
impressed with, because the thing that I noted was, because when I was practicing on how I'm going to film cycling vlogs, I had a selfie stick, and I attached the selfie stick to the thing, and I had my Osmo Pocket, and my brain didn't compute that there's vibrations, and it doesn't really deal with the vibrations very well. But I noticed that what the 3D camera that you were using, although you can see vibrations, is nowhere near as much as a Pocket 2 or even my GoPro. Even this doesn't handle it very well. But that GoPro 3 is handling the vibrations.
Yeah, GoPro Max is brilliant.
Really well.
I really like it.
So how do you edit the footage? Do you have to do it on an app on the phone like you do with the Insta?
No, I edit it on the GoPro software that comes on the.
So it is similar. That's what I have to do with. I have the Insta 360 One X2, and it's the same.
I've never done it that way.
Yeah, the Insta 360 One X2. I think if you do the same thing as me. Sorry, I talked over Jackie. You have to bring everything into GoPro and then kick it out into your editor.
I think whenever you're using a 360, you end up doing like 2 edits, don't you? You edit your 360 first, get it into usable footage, and then bring it into whatever your final editing is being done in, and then use it from that.
Yeah. Now I found a shortcut with DaVinci, but it's still it means I at least have to open it in Insta360's app.
Yeah.
And then I can take the 360 footage and I have a plug-in for DaVinci, and then I can maneuver stuff around,
right.
choose my views and everything. Because that's what's so cool about that camera, your camera, my camera.
Total reframe, isn't it?
You have like 1,000 cameras in one. It's really cool.
Yep. Yeah, great little bit of kit.
It's a really interesting perspective that you get, and it is really kind of cool. It's got me, because he's been trying to get me to get the Insta360 M2. Is it called? Is it the one you've got?
1X2.
Yeah, 1X2.
I'd try and point you towards the GoPro Max.
Does it have the same issues as like every other GoPro has, as in randomly doesn't charge or gets upset depending on what SD card you use, or all the other fun and games that you usually have with GoPros?
It has a little bit of attitude.
Not available.
Like all GoPros,
Try one more time.
Basically,
hold on, one more time.
Pull the battery out, put it back in.
One more time.
It's happy again.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's exactly what I have with my GoPro. But even the GoPro Hero 10, from what I hear, still has
still does that. I don't know.
Unique GoPro issues.
Yeah, just a little bit of attitude, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, look, the imagery you get out of GoPros is still pretty good. Although, and that gets me into this. So this is the DJI Action 2. We've talked about this on the channel a couple of times, and that's to say that the release of this has been
there it is.
Robert, just type all that in, Robert, and you'll find me. I think my icon's got me.
I think the linky I just put it in the chat. It should work. Let's see if it works for me. Yeah, it popped right open. In fact, you have another subscriber.
Let me check.
There you go.
Let me check.
I subbed.
Oh, thank you. I'll look up
you should have a few more.
Afterwards. Hold on, go back to the beginning.
I don't think I said hello to Chris Wedgeworth, did I? I don't think I did. Shame on me. Chris is like,
there you go. He's found it. He's found it, and he has subbed. Thanks, Robert.
Yeah, got another subscriber. 623.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yep. One at a time, baby. One at a time. Click, click,
That's
click. That's how it goes.
Robert.
So yeah.
It's isn't it hard, the whole? Okay, we'll get back to the other stuff, but it's really hard to get the channel to grow. It just takes so much time.
Well, do you know what? At the start, I was impatient with it, and I was thinking, why don't people subscribe, and why do they watch and just leave? But then I had a friend who said, "Oh, go on this channel, and they do like for like subs," and I did that for a few days, and then I thought, well, hold on a minute, I'm subbing to things I'm not interested in.
Right. That's the problem. I did that too.
To me, and they're not interested in me, so I scrapped that, got rid of that, and then someone else said, "Yeah, I'll get you a load of subs," and basically, I think some robots watched because I got the
bots watching.
Yeah, and then suddenly they disappeared again, and I'm thinking, well, that wasn't genuine. And then, do you know what? I just thought, actually, I'd rather people.
It's got to be organic.
That actually enjoy watching it, and then I'll stop worrying about it now. I'll make videos for me. If I like it, I like
you have to anyway, because like I know Lori and I, when we do stuff, we consider the audience that we hope.
Yeah, but it's like it's a video diary of your experience, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what
for you.
So that's why Lori came up with the whole idea: pack your bag and join us. That's like
it's cool.
That I know exactly what you mean by that. I've branched out. I'm going to start doing these cycling videos. I was going to start a new channel, but Chuck convinced me to do it on my main channel.
Yeah, I've got all my hobbies now on this one channel.
And then you can kind of have.
And seeing your channel kind of confirmed it, because I was still umming and ahhing. And when Chuck told me you were coming on, and I went and checked your channel, I went, well, your channel's doing drones. Your channel's doing cycling. I'm doing it on my main channel.
You're both UKers, so it's a good.
I've got other friends that have separated them into separate channels, but I don't know. Like I say, I just do it for me now. So
for maintenance, I think it's easier just to have one channel. Like I'm doing a how-to on my truck after I'm done with 2KD today.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna put that on the channel and just have like a little bit of a car care section too. So
cool.
Kovaction wrenching. something.
Covaction wrenching and F-bombing quite a bit.
Yeah, it was I did one side last week, and I told Keith there was about 1,000 expletives that rhyme with my name and start with the letter F that had to be said or yelled in order to get the job done. So I could rank it on the number of F's, I suppose. That was off the charts. That was terrible. So now I have it figured out. I'm going to do the other side. It'll be much more smooth, and I'll show the audience like in a calm, clear way of doing it. You see,
that's the thing. Usually when I do jobs around the house, my wife Lem goes out because I F and blind on everything. But I had to replace a light in the pond, and there's a long story around this. But
we're not going to talk about the Action 2, are we?
Yeah, well, I did use the Action 2 because I had to go in again today. Long story. But
really now? Okay, cool.
Oh, long story. But effing and blinding, I was effing and blinding again today, but because I was underwater, she couldn't hear me. So she's happily pointing around the garden. She goes, "So haven't you gone out?" She goes, "I can't hear you underwater." I went, "Good point." She said she could see a lot of air bubbles coming off, and I said that's because I was like,
yeah, there's a lot of F-bombs coming out in bubble form.
You try holding a pair of pliers and a screwdriver, a meter underwater, trying to screw this in.
Brilliant.
Anyway, I was using this today, and I can confirm it is waterproof. I've been using this in anger. I'll show you a little bit of footage on the bike in a minute, but I've been using this in anger. It hasn't overheated on me yet. I've been using it at 2.7K a lot because I was using Horizon Steady, and it hasn't overheated. I managed to run it for like a 10-minute bit because I wanted to get this ride along the beach, and I didn't know where I was going to use B-roll, so I thought I'd just film the whole thing and then I can pick and choose. And it's been really good. The one good thing is now, Chuck, you know this company. There's a company called Small Rig who make amazing, useful things.
That's the clamp that I bought. That excuse me, crap. That's the clamp I used to bolt the Insta360 onto the bobsled.
Well, they very quickly.
I filmed the bobsled run in 360 on my channel. It's pretty cool.
Oh,
they're a Chinese company, but did you know that they're a Chinese company, Small Rig?
Yeah,
most of them. They make a case for the Action 2, and I don't know if you can see this, but they make this case.
Make a really nice case.
Well, it's a cage, but it's plastic, and it's good that it's plastic because it now feels like a GoPro. And the thing that why I've noticed it getting really, really hot is if you use this unit on your own, because Jackie, if you don't know this is a completely enclosed unit. Unlike a GoPro, it doesn't have a door, so there's no SD card. This unit, which is the display, has the memory and to charge it. So to charge it, you have to sort of click them together, right? And then there's a USB-C. So this has 32 gigs of internal storage, but only 22 gig available because the OS is installed.
Right.
So, but the great thing is you can mount this on top of the FPV, and it's awesome on top of the FPV.
Oh, wow.
But when you plug this in, you have to transfer from this to the SD card on this, and it charges this unit at the same time. To say that you can fry an egg on this when it's doing it is probably not a lie. It gets that hot.
Wow.
Now that you've got this case, you can touch it. Without this case, you couldn't touch it. So the case also protrudes slightly, so it protects the screen. So if
nice.
You own an Action 2,
case is essential.
I ordered this. They charged me, I think it was $2 for delivery. I ordered it 4 days later by FedEx from China, straight from the factory. And it got
it's like a hop, skip, and a jump for you to go from China to Thailand. It's like
it is. Well, you say that.
Like,
I mean, I order a lot of stuff on.
It's like London to Edinburgh. It's like
5 hours.
You say that, Chuck, but I order a lot of stuff on Lazada. I think you've heard James talk about it in the Philippines before. It's basically Asian Amazon. And a lot of stuff comes from China. It can take a week. I've ordered 3-4 brackets for my bike because the great thing about this is magnetic. The other thing, Jackie, is it's magnetic. So to get different to get different perspectives, I literally pull it off the front and stick it on the back one. I've only got 2 mounts at the moment, but I've ordered a couple more to get different bits of B-roll. But
convenient and quick, isn't it?
You can even do it without getting off the bike. So I can literally, I'm cycling, I can pull it out the front, stick it on the side whilst I'm cycling. It's awesome. The magnetic system on this thing is really, really cool. And actually, when I'm doing what I'm doing, it's been really useful. Would you want to snowboard with it? Probably not, because the problem is it's metal. And I haven't done anything with it, and it's already got a scratch. And I don't know how that happened. It must have been when I was clipping it in and out. But it's aluminium, so it's not
aluminum.
Aluminium.
Aluminum.
So,
in Star Trek, they didn't say clear aluminium; they said clear aluminum.
Transparent aluminum.
That was
the thing, and that
stuff.
actually does exist.
In fact, that was Scotty who said clear He said transparent aluminum. He didn't say transparent aluminium. And he's Scottish, man.
Actually, if you watch the interview with James Doonan, he said it numerous times, and they forced him into saying aluminum because it was an American movie.
Aluminium.
Hello, computer. I love that.
How quaint.
But yeah, it's been it's been really good. I mean, I'll see if I can pull up a little bit of. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try it. Hang on. Just talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, because I don't know if this is going to work.
My premiere comes out tomorrow at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, Jackie, what are you, 6 hours ahead of me? Or
it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon here.
It's 11 here, so that's 6 hours. You're 6 hours ahead. Keith is 12 hours ahead of me, so he's 6 hours ahead of you.
Right.
Because you're European, yeah, 6 hours.
Yeah. So it's 11 p.m. for Keith.
This
is where like clicked around the globe.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Right, here we go. Hang on. So
nice
I don't know if
YouTube, isn't it? Just connects everyone.
It's pretty damn cool. When you can remember everybody's name.
Stephen's in the house.
Is he now?
Guy. He'll be in his bath watching us.
Oh, Steven. Yeah. He's the one who kind of swayed me to get the Mini too, because he was flying it all over across the pond, and it was pretty handy.
To some fantastic places. Was it Dubai when he was in the desert and he was flying through the tent? I can't remember now. He's been to so many places.
Yeah, he's taken. I remember he unboxed the Mini too, I think, over there.
Yeah. Robert wants to know where I'm from. Well, I'm from Ashford in Kent in the UK, but I now live in Murcia in Spain.
Cool.
Where the weather's better. Yay!
Okay. So I thought this is basically rock steady and it's raw footage out of it.
Monkeys?
Those are monkeys. Yeah, I thought I'd show you.
Sitting on the road. Oh, that's so cool. How did you end up living in Thailand? That's really cool.
Basically, I had family who own a place here.
They're everywhere.
And
it's brilliant.
Yeah, they are on this road. Yeah, there is. I think there's one bit where I need to stop it because it's a bit. Put it this way, it should be on Pornhub.
I never realized how much. I didn't realize you had to dodge monkeys when you're on your bike. That's insane.
I am on this one, yeah. But this is what it's like. It's not bad footage. It's doing the job quite well.
Now you can get the drone. That's D-Log, isn't it?
This is in D-Log, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is not the wide-angle view. This is standard. So it's quite a good... It can go even wider than that. This is de-warping it in camera.
Camera, man.
360, don't it?
Yeah, you need a 360. Get that Air 2S up in the air.
So I'll tell you quickly how I basically have family that I basically went to. I say the family; they are family because I ended up living with them. It's a long story, but their daughter is like my best friend and sister, and I ended up living with them for a long time. And they own, and her mum is Thai, so we used to come here on holidays. And I ended up meeting my wife on an island nearby where they live, which I ended up living on for a while. Again, long story, but I met my wife. She's Thai. We ended up falling in love and got married. Decided that it was way too difficult to get her to live in England. And somehow my company said, you can work from home. And I said, can I work from home in Thailand?
Brilliant.
And through some agreement, they did. And now I live in Thailand and life is awesome.
I bet.
And I live in a postcard, pretty much like where you live, I think. So
Or monkeys.
And lots of monkeys, yes.
Who take your Mavic 2 remote from your vehicle.
I'll tell you what, I will show you. Let me see if I can call up.
A bunch of bananas behind the bike. Robert, they actually prefer like cocoa, Ovaltine, or something.
You joke, but those little huts that you saw at the end sell bananas to people who then feed them out the car. The monkeys jump on the car, but they do genuinely. It's they are eating bananas there. Now I just need to see if I can find this.
Whilst everybody is subscribing to these other channels, don't forget about this one. I mean 2K drones. That's what I meant. Well, mine too, but 2K drones. You gonna find it, Keith?
I'm gonna find you a bit of the FPV drone, hopefully. If I can.
I need to fly mine again. I charged up the batteries. Batteries?
Batteries. This is it on the FPV drone. So it tends to prioritize ISO again. So it's similar to the FPV camera in the fact that you get noise, but it's a better image.
So that's the Action 2 on your FPV.
That's the Action 2 on the FPV drone. This is where
that's pretty.
This
cool,
is my wife's got a little coffee hut, and I was just sitting at the coffee hut messing around with the drone, and it's because it's 2.7K raw. It's jumping a bit, but this was me just mucking around with it on top of the.
Are you flying sport or manual? Looks maybe manual.
Sport.
Okay.
I'm flying sport here because I haven't flown manual for a while, and I was flying low, and I'm not that confident manual low. But you see, it goes dark here when it gets in the sun. It with auto on it doesn't.
It's going to shadow out on you. I've had that same problem with auto on the Action.
But it handles. It's pretty smooth, and it is a better image than the FPV drone. So, and I've got used to it because what the FPV drone does is with this thing sitting on top of it, because it looks small, but it is actually surprisingly heavy. It pitches down. Yeah. You have to be prepped for it. So, and I was getting a bit daring. Like, trouble is with that FPV drone, because I've seen you flew it, didn't you, Jackie? And it's kind of, I don't know how if it does this to you, but to me it just wants to it eggs you on. It eggs you on to fly a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I've only flown it once. It's Terry's, and he's let me have a flight. He offered to let me fly it again, but I turned him down because I just want to do more daring stuff with it, and of course it's not my drone, so I didn't.
I should tell Mike has over 100 subscribers. He can get a custom URL now. You don't have to use the launch code, Mike. You can go into your go into Studio and you can create your own URL at this point if you want to.
This temple that I'm flying over here, you should have seen it yesterday. There was a festival on, and it's one of the only ones in the country that's built for this festival. It's like this festival is one day a year, and at this time of year, like thousands of people turn up, and even with COVID, there were thousands of people there last night. And the news was there; it was on the national TV.
They're opening up that beach that was like used in that movie with Leonardo.
Maya Bay.
Maya Bay.
Maya Bay has been closed since 2018. Because
do you have footage of that when it was quiet during COVID?
I do. I went there before. I went there
because that would be kind of like the movie The Beach when it was all just secluded.
there was a lot of people there, but a lot less than there was now. What they've done is they are reopening it, but they are limiting the amount of visitors, because what happened was that there are so many tour companies around there when tourism was at its height, and you get thousands of speedboats coming in and out, and they were tearing up the reef.
Wow.
And literally they closed it, and within 2 months the place had transformed. They were getting like those little sort of sand sharks coming in and everything, and all the corals now are completely regrown. They are reopening it, but they are limiting the amount of tourism to it, which is great, because it was getting ruined.
That's
And
sad when that happens. Have they stopped the speedboats coming in then, or
they are going to limit, so you have to get a permit, and they are going to police it much better. Now, usually when they say this in Thailand, I don't believe them, because Thailand, but here I do, because they really have been.
Well, if they went as far as closing it.
Oh yeah, and they did properly.
So perhaps they will protect
it.
it.
And they have realised conservation around there and what they have. But yes, it is reopening in January, I believe. And I have been there once. That whole area is gorgeous. It's beautiful around there. You have to get a speedboat to get there. You can go from either Phuket or the other place called Krabi, which actually to me is probably more beautiful, but people go to Phuket because that's what they know. But Krabi has these incredible beaches, and I've got some awesome drone footage from there with my Mavic Pro. That was the Mavic Pro that got all that footage.
Nice.
I have a video on my channel, Is It Worth Bringing a Drone to Thailand, all shot round there. And I've just got this amazing shot of going down this beach and then tracking the longboats through the water, all done on the original Mavic Pro. Platinum.
Mavic Pro is a pretty sweet drone. I still like Jackie's still flying the Platinum. I thought you had a zoom. I really did. I looked at the camera really quick in the picture, and I thought it was a zoom.
Nice Platinum.
I didn't see the little
The Platinum's a brilliant drone, and I miss it. The reason that Thailand has some weird rules. Basically, if you buy a drone outside, you have to get a license to import radio equipment, and that ended up costing as much as the drone. So I bought my original Mavic Pro here, and then I went back to the UK and ended up being back in the UK for a couple of months. And during that time, I had an accident with the Pro, and I got this jelly effect. So I sent it off to DJI. DJI repaired it, and they repaired the jelly effect. Didn't get the jelly effect anymore. Trouble is, the drone went up and it wouldn't come back down again. Because they broke the sensors, and you couldn't switch them off. So the drone, you would have to wait for the battery to run out for it to do an emergency landing. So I sent it back to them again,
that stinks.
And they replaced the drone. And as soon as they did that, my registration in Thailand was no longer legal. And I tried to re-register the drone, but it ended up I got sent a bill for £1,000 for an import license because of the radio gear. So I ended up having to sell it and getting a Mavic 2. But I probably wouldn't have done had I not. I probably would have had that drone probably until my Air 2S. I admit, the Air 2S is awesome.
No.
Probably would have, actually.
Nope.
I love that drone. I'm weird with drones.
I believe you.
I know that I'm a techaholic, but I am weird with drones.
That's why I don't believe you. That's why I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I held off on the Mavic 2, and I'm holding off on the Mavic 3. Seriously, I'm getting a bike.
How much time do I have, people, before when's a month up? We got another 2 weeks before I have to crumble, and like after Thanksgiving here in the States, I have to crumble and buy a Mavic 3.
And then you'll be phoning me up going, doesn't do this, doesn't do that, doesn't even do this, doesn't do point of interest, dude.
Well, that is why I'm waiting, though. Honestly, that's why I'm holding out, because, like, seriously, I just told you I don't want to carry 2 smart controllers, the new one and the old one.
I'm holding out.
Big ass bricks in the bag.
I'm holding out for the FPV Skydio Mini.
Ooh.
With a smart controller. Doesn't yet exist, obviously, but
we're gonna design it. Because it's I think
there'll
be a second.
Do you know?
We're way off topic now. Do you think there'll be a second FPV from DJI?
Would be the perfect drone.
Yes, there is going to be another FPV drone. The rumors are beginning. Yes, there is going to be another FPV drone from DJI. But it's funny we should talk. We're talking about FPV. Chuck and I did a segment a while back talking about drones use in cinematic in films and movies, and how, you know, there's a new movie out on Netflix. If you've got Netflix and you're into drones, I suggest you watch this. It's called Red Notice.
All right.
And it's The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. It's quite funny. But the thing is, they are using FPV drones in there to do a lot of shots. In fact, they do a one shot of where they have an FPV drone and it flies through, I think it's Valencia, and basically it slows down and it tracks the Rock getting out of the car, and then it follows the Rock around, and it's a one shot done on the FPV, and it's awesome.
And what's this program called?
It's called Red Notice. It's a movie on Netflix, but a lot of footage is FPV drone.
Hey, Kai's in the
and
house.
I believe it's the first Hollywood movie or mainstream Hollywood movie to use FPV drones in their thing, and it's awesome. But I'd love to know what I haven't found anything yet of the rig that they were using, because it's cinematic quality, so they've got to have been using some kind of cinematic camera.
Ed Ricker probably has the drone that they're flying FPV. Is that great big monster one? I forget the name, and Kai probably knows. Kai's in the house. He knows what it's that could carry. Oh, you know, Dono had one too that could carry a real camera on it. There are FPVs that carry full payloads.
I can't show footage from it on here because we'll get a copyright, but I highly suggest that if you've got Netflix, go and check out this movie if you're into drones, because there is some seriously awesome FPV work in that film. I mean, there's a bit where they are, and they've shot it, and it's not CGI, where they are driving through some kind of mine shaft, and the camera's tracking them and following them, and the camera's doing this and this. It's like, that's an FPV shot again. They're flying an FPV drone, tracking these cars through this thing. It's obviously done in a studio. The thing is, you can tell this movie was shot in COVID, because whereas there's meant to have been location shots, you can tell it's shot in a studio, and it was shot over COVID period. But there are some serious, awesome FPV shots in that film. Really, really cool. Well worth a watch. Oh yeah, they had those at Spin Down. Apparently, I haven't seen much footage from Spin Down. I saw a lot of Spin Up footage, and I watched most of the stream online, even with the dodgy audio. There were some really bad audio problems to the first half of Spin Up.
To get that stuff, like,
it was
right. I had audio problems in Scotland. It still peeves me, but what are you gonna do? We had a lot of technical problems on that trip. We had a really good time, and there's stuff that I just couldn't capture because of technical problems.
You know, you're going to have to go back.
That's what Lori says. You have to go back,
and hopefully this time next year we will be back to being able to travel, and I'll be able to get there this time, and you know, actually meet you in person.
Invading my airspace, though. I kind of like my own airspace.
I'll come buzzing around with my FPV drone. Get that Mavic 3 out of the way.
Yeah, you know what? If there's a new FPV drone out, the old one will have to just risk it for the biscuit around the stacks and stuff. And like, yep, just throwing it out there. Doesn't come back. It's one less thing to carry back in the suitcase. Oh wow, take this thing out, because this thing probably could have cut through the high winds. Darn it all! I didn't have it.
What do you want to post, Lone Star? Send it over on Discord to one of us, and we can post it.
Oh, why isn't he?
YouTube blocks posting links, and I can't.
We'll take care of that right now.
If you send us I don't know what he's sending a link to.
Why can't I make Kai?
Did they do damage to the camera? Oh, because those red cameras are not cheap. Yeah, red cameras are like cine grade. Red cameras are eye-wateringly expensive cinematic cameras, and I do mean.
You wouldn't want to crash one then.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. Hang on. I can
Yeah,
do
Mike,
that.
I'm trying to. It's not let me. It's weird. I'm doing something.
Hang on. I can do it.
I
in a
should be able
second.
to, though.
Can't you do it, Mike?
Actually, yeah, Mike should be able to do it too. But it's weird. It won't let me. Freaking weird. Okay, sorry
there you
about
go.
the banter.
I've done it. Kai, try it again now. You should be able to do it. You should be able to do it now, Kai. I've just made you a moderator. In theory, that should now work. There you go. Yeah, you're a moderator, so in theory that should allow you to post it. Kai.
All right.
So
Well, that was
There you go. It's posted now.
Okay, hang on. Let's click on that link. Hang on. Okay, I have to swap around. Let me see.
swap around.
Yeah, because I have to. There we go. Oh, right. Hang on. Let me.
No copyright risks there. We're all good.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Wow.
No.
You know, we did have a little incident last time.
In theory, this should work. Can we see
incident.
that? There we go. Thanks, Kai.
Yeah.
Oh,
Check
wow.
that
Look at
out.
that. I don't know what that is, but I want one.
One expensive as setup right there.
Yeah, that camera's probably about
wouldn't
10,000 more
You
plus.
wouldn't want to crash that, would you?
No, you do not want to crash that. But I mean, to them that's nothing, right? They're going out for the shots. They don't care. 10 grand to them is like, $10 to us.
Wow.
But basically, Chuck is referring to the fact that I do the thumbnails for the YouTube videos. And our last,
you have to be careful with that.
I googled images of the Mavic 3, and I just put 2 Mavic 3 images in our thumbnail, and it turns out that I ended up using images unbeknownst to me from the leaked video of the Mavic 3, the one that got leaked from that Chinese guy prior to the actual physical launch, and he chucked copyright strikes on literally everyone. And I tried to argue it and say, well, hang on, you've issued a copyright strike on a video that actually doesn't exist yet, because we got the copyright strike before we went live. This is what's wrong with the YouTube copyright system.
Well, it's more about just it's not so much it's wrong, it's just you have to understand what's wrong so you don't do it. That's all. When we're live streaming and stuff, when anybody's posting any content that you're posting, you just have to be aware of that and be careful. It's a lesson learned, in my opinion. It's just we're all posting content, so
here's
totally
the thing.
It's a sidebar from like the whole
but he went once because I complied with it, and I changed the thumbnail over. I reissued the video. He then copyrighted striked us again, but this time I didn't use any of his images. And I successfully, and I'll give YouTube this, they responded pretty quickly, which is unusual for them. I then said, how can he, so far as I know, you cannot, there is no such thing as copywriting with intent or premeditated copyright. He's implying that we intend to use copyrighted material, but we haven't done so, and that isn't against any of YouTube's breaches, and YouTube agreed with it and removed the second copyright strike.
That was close to
when he was
on air too. That was a nail biter.
I was slightly annoyed because I defended him the previous week when we were talking. I was saying, look, there's loads of people trying to show his photo. I was saying, no, look, it's really nasty when somebody gets hacked, and he's clearly got hacked. I know that it happened to a guy with the original Osmo Action, who I follow, another Croatian guy, who really good YouTuber, and it happened to him as well. And I felt really sorry for him. But then he tried to strike a video that we never intended to show any of his footage. Anyway, long story short, we got rid of that copyright.
And Kai and Mike are talking about that thing 10 feet up. I suppose that camera wouldn't fare well 10 feet up, would it, if it falls?
No, they're not exactly designed to be dropped.
You wouldn't want to drop it 10 inches, would you?
Yeah, that's not good. Not good.
No, it's not. Did he did you see the crash? Did he damage the camera though, Kai? Did the camera get damaged? Was possibly the drone, but the camera is probably more costly than the drone.
The drone, the drone's cheap compared to the payload.
Yeah. But I suppose that's probably what they were using in this
suspect.
film. I wonder how many times they crashed. But as I say, I think the first time they do it, they fly down this street. They literally come from probably about 150 feet in the air, and he flies it around this building, comes down this street, and it's all FPV footage. But then it literally slows to ground level, or sort of. And tracks an actor, I think it was The Rock that gets out the car. Then it tracks them through this building, and it's all one shot. It's just
now
incredible.
those one shot things are just blow my mind. They're incredible. I've only seen a few of them pulled off in movies. They're badass.
But yeah, I mean, just what a shot. Anyway, Chuck, we've been on for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I have to. Daylight is short, and I really do have to get that wrench project done because it's
didn't
nice
you just
today
get
and
off...
it won't be tomorrow.
And had you been somewhere, Jackie? Had you literally just
someone from the airport? That was why I was a bit late because it went a bit wrong. Couldn't find him at the airport.
Fair enough.
I think Jackie's latest is this one. Put it in the chat if Jackie didn't already.
No, I haven't.
Here, I'll throw it in here.
Sorry, I haven't joined in the chat, everyone.
Here is.
As I rushed in from the airport, I've just literally logged on.
I think that's your new. That should be the link to your newest video from Spain.
Oh, cool.
From like 7 hours ago.
Yeah.
I happened to be up. I saw that thing. I think I was like second to comment.
I sent you a little private link anyway, didn't I? I said, Chuck, here's my latest.
Yeah, you did. I didn't even see that. It like popped up on my feed.
Cool.
That was cool.
I've got to look up Keith's channel now as well.
Thank you.
I want to see more monkeys in Thailand. Yay.
K-Spot.
Yeah. Yep. And especially if he's getting this new bike.
Yes, I'm I've got
if you look at a video from a year ago with us, you notice Keith is a changed man.
I've lost, a
bit of weight, dude.
Well, it's nearly 40 kilos. So that's what.
How many Mavic 3s is that?
A lot. But I'm about 5 off comfortably being able to ride an endurance road bike. But I'm going to be ordering it soon because there's not just a chip shortage. There is also a shortage when it comes to bikes, apparently, because everybody and their uncle bought one in lockdown. So there are now very difficult but I've got I'm not going to buy electronic gearing, but I'm going to geek out on bikes for a second, but Chuck, this would impress you. I took my bike into the bike shop here the other day because it needed a bit of a tune. And he just rolled out this brand new road bike that costs more than my car because it has Shimano's latest Duro Ace on it, and it's wireless electronic gears. Chuck, you click this thing and it changes gear in a second.
Wow. That sounds cool.
Nice. It's just amazing.
When you get this new bike, give us a walk around it on your channel so we can see it.
I will. I think it's a toss up at the moment between 2 manufacturers that we can get here. And I'm leaning towards Giant at the moment because they're slightly easier to deal with. And the bike shop that I go to now, his son owns the Giant dealership here. So I can carry on using them. Yeah.
Customer service if you need it. That's good. So
I'm looking at a Giant Defy Advanced Pro, I think it is.
Nice.
So, but it's about £3,500. So. But my wife's going to let me do it because I'm up to sort of doing 40-mile rides now. So she's like, I get up at 7 in the morning because it gets too damn hot by sort of midday. It's 37 on a good day, and that's hot. So, but I'm getting up to around 40 odd miles now. So it's
that's really good.
I'm really enjoying it. I love it. Yeah. And my I've got a mountain bike, but it's too heavy. And I've been doing a lot more sort of going up into the roads up into our sort of mountains, and there's so much up there to explore. So yes, endurance bike is my my next big spend.
GoPro Max mounted on the front.
I'm tempted. I have to admit, I am very tempted because I've seen what you were doing. I'm thinking you're getting some really interesting perspectives.
Watch my La Vuelta video. That was with the GoPro Max.
I think I watched 2 of them, and you had it on 2 of the video, and I watched 2. I can't remember the title, but I just looked everything that said cycling. I'm going to watch that. So, then I watched a couple of your hikes, and then I watched your FPV where you were flying the FPV one. But I then had to hop off on a work call. But I was like, Chuck told me you were coming on. I was like, well, I need to know. Send me across the channel, so at least I can talk about that. But talking of your channel, before we jump off, would you like to plug your channel one more time, Jackie?
Backpack Jack. Hikes, bikes, drones, and stand-up paddleboarding. No, I don't do that very often.
You should do more of that.
I should.
Filming.
It's a good channel, guys. Go and check it out. Chuck, plug your channel and your next video because it's coming out tomorrow.
It's coming out. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah. The next installment from Scotland is tomorrow when Lori and I went way up north. As far north as we could go without having a submarine anyway to go way north. So we were at Land's End. That was pretty cool. So that's out tomorrow, 11:45 Eastern Standard Time.
It's good that you bring them out every week because I just feel like we've been on holiday with you for like a month now.
They've been slower than that because like last week, not this past week, the week before I was in Minneapolis on business.
Oh yeah, you missed one, didn't you? That's right.
Yeah, but the graveyard one's pretty fun. That's the most haunted graveyard or cemetery.
I like
in
the
Scotland.
one when you were in the airplane. To be honest, I thought that was fun as well.
That was Lori's idea too to do
That'd be me in the airplane.
But we're having so much fun vlogging now. It's like we're like seriously, like pack your bags and join us. It's a lot of fun. So that's Covaction. Covaction. Simply Covaction. I dropped the dronography, even though drones are still a big part of what we do because it's one of our cameras that we carry around in our dozen cameras. That's 1, 2, or actually 5 of them are drones.
Wow.
That
a lot of gear.
That's what I'm trying to use a drone.
Love my tech gear. Yeah, all my photography stuff.
Oh yeah, ask Jackie when you speak. Ask him about his oven. Even his oven's got
high tech.
Yes, really, seriously.
It's a June oven. Yeah, it has a camera in it too. It actually shows the.
It knows what's in the oven and tells you
what's in the oven, and then sets up the timing accordingly. It's super cool. June oven.
I mean, I've got a bit of smart tech in here. All the lights behind are all smart tech, but Chuck puts me to shame.
That's Lori's oven. I bought that for Lori for Christmas a couple of years ago, right before that was 2019. And everybody always tells me, "What are you buying Lori that stuff for? She's gonna be mad." It's like, no, she's not gonna be mad. It's kind of she wanted an air fryer, so I got her that. Plus, the oven's an air fryer. It's a broiler. It's like it does like everything. It's insane.
Anyway, I'm on the K Spot. Check out my channel in a couple of weeks because I'm going to be having some videos coming out, but I'm waiting for my new computer to turn up before I start editing again. I will have a review of this. I'm using it for a while before I put a review out because it's not without its issues, but I want to put a balanced view across of it before I because a lot of people were righteously negative about this, but I think because of all the negativity, they're actually missing a lot of the positives about, and it's there. But I want to
clarify.
I want to do a balanced view of it because actually the magnetic system for me is awesome. So I will talk about that, especially on a bike. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Jackie, thank you for coming and turning up, especially considering
having me on the show.
I know
Art's late to the show. He's not without comedy, by the way. Yeah, Jackie, it was really cool you could drop in with us. That's awesome because it's like.
Cheers for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate you coming. Chuck, thanks for being here as always. And You may have noticed Henry's not here. We're not quite sure what's going on with Henry. So, Henry, if you are watching this, let us know you're all right, mate. Please.
Yeah, keep
buddy.
asking Henry, what are you doing? I haven't even seen any like sneak peek videos from him or anything. He's been laying low.
Hopefully he's just busy judging robotic competitions because I know
Chasing
there's a
girls,
lot
all
of that.
stuff,
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to go there, but yeah. But
come
anyway,
on,
guys,
man.
thanks for watching. We will be back in a couple of weeks' time with another one of these, and we will see you then. So wave at the camera and say bye like it's a 1970s
Peace
game
out.
show.
That's a British thing.